Hey guys, it's Ryan, aka Kaiser, running the False Emperor on hard mode. One thing I noticed about this Flashpoint is that even though there's a lot of trash and it's easy to take down, it still takes quite a while to do. One thing I do recommend that we didn't really have in this Flashpoint is a tank who is extremely good at holding aggro and knows what to CC. Pretty much what you want to do is the elites CC of both if you can. If not, just get one and have the tank focus on the other one. For this video, what I had to do, since there was so much footage, is speed it all up, and pretty much the only thing that's going to be in real speed in this video is going to be the final boss fight. I'm not really going to go into too much detail about everything because I'm assuming at this point everyone's run this at least once. This is actually my first time doing it on hard mode or regular, and I was actually pleasantly surprised with the Flashpoint. Like I said, there's a lot of trash, but it's also a fast takedown. So it shouldn't take you too long if you don't have any problems. I feel like maybe in this one they tried to squeeze too many bosses in, and you'll see what I mean later on because some of them are just kind of unnecessary. Coming up is basically a little mini boss. It's basically just a fight on the bridge, and he has an AoE knockback, I believe. Just avoid getting knocked off the bridge, and this fight's basically a tank and spank. It's really not that hard. Like I said, hopefully your tank can really keep the aggro, or else this is going to be quite a long Flashpoint for you. It actually took my group about an hour and a half to do this, just because after the bonus boss our tank disconnected and then we had to wait for another one. I feel like they still have to work on the group finder because it took about 20 minutes just to find another tank. The problem with that is no one in our group was actually set up to be a tank as well. I feel maybe in this game they should have given the option for a full complete respec instead of just your skill points. There are times when I'd rather re-roll as a power tech just to get things done and out of the way. This was for my daily, and having to wait that extra half an hour to 45 minutes really killed me. This fight I didn't really understand too well. I'm pretty sure you hit that switch and it shoots that spaceship out there, and the spaceship will go out. Basically avoid the circles because that's where it's going to shoot. While the spaceship is out there shooting, you basically can't do damage to this boss. It's basically, I would say, a DPS race. While that shield is down and the ship is up, you need to DPS him as fast as possible. Eventually you will destroy the ship, and at that point you can just tank and spank the boss again. It shouldn't take you too long. Like I said, this group I was with wasn't actually really that good. We can blame that mostly on the tank, but don't tell them I said that. Other than that, that fight was fairly simple. I was still kind of disappointed with it. Not enough mechanics for me. The trash actually seems to get easier in this. The mobs actually start to consist of regular enemies, and then the stronger ones. Occasionally you'll run into an epic bot somewhere along the line. In this group, our tank actually broke the CC, and we couldn't get off the bridge, so one of our guys actually got knocked off. Rule of thumb in this game for me is that if there's a bridge, I don't really want to be on it. It's a basic mechanic. At this point, it's kind of single pull the elite mobs and then just AoE down the rest. Like I said, if you can get a tank who's really good at keeping aggro, that's a real plus, because on these AoE mobs, ours couldn't, and I kept getting hit, which I have no problem with, but when I have to do single target DPS instead of AoE DPS because I can't take his aggro, that kind of annoys me. But that's just a personal pet peeve of mine. At this point in the Flashpoint, it's just killing more trash and more trash until you get to the next boss. It's actually coming up soon. Gotta say, I like the environment though in this Flashpoint. These bosses are what I was talking about when they throw bosses in. These guys are a bit useless. Basically, you attack one while the other one creates this circle around him that makes him basically immune to damage, and he'll throw out random aggro discs. They can hit anyone, it doesn't really matter, just make sure your healer's on it. They'll switch back and forth, so basically you kill one and then eventually the other one will go down. It's a pretty simple fight. If you can't figure it out, then you probably won't make it past any of the other bosses. The loot's kind of basic. You get your daily comm and your Chinese crystals with a piece of blue gear. And then you go to the next floor. You might be able to skip more than just that mob, I'm not sure. Same mob again. CC the droids and kill everything else. It gets kind of repetitive, I know. It annoyed me too, but the next boss fight is so worth it, and you'll see why. I was so surprised when I saw this. The loading takes a while, and I don't know why. They've been having lag lately. I pretty much skip all the cutscenes. My group doesn't understand the concept of spacebar, but if you ran the Foundry, you know who that is, and if you played Knights of the Old Republic, you know who that is. That is my favorite boss. This fight is actually really simple. Basically, DPS HK, and if you have a target around you, move to avoid the incoming damage. Eventually, 2 turrets will spawn. All you have to do is DPS those down. Basically, they're elites. One person shouldn't have to DPS them down, but in this case, I did. After the turrets are down, all you have to do is DPS down HK-47 and continue to avoid the missile blast from across the bridge, and you should be fine. I really did enjoy this fight for the simple fact just that it's HK-47. The fight in Foundry wasn't as fun as this one, just because most of the time you weren't actually fighting HK-47 as a DPS, you were fighting his bots, and that kind of annoyed me, but that's just me. After the fight, you go through more trash. I don't think we really had to wait to pull him. Our tank was just a bit timid. This pull actually got a little bit hairy for our group, a little bit, because there's just so much to kill. But with good DPS, shouldn't be a problem. Even if your tank could hold aggro really well, still wouldn't be a problem. This conversation's kind of useless. I just went the easy route and make the dark choice. I don't really think he deserved to live, so I killed him. Next level, obviously, is more trash, and this is where I believe you start the bonus quest to get the bonus boss. In my opinion, in a hard mode Flashpoint, bonus bosses are kind of useless. They don't really yield anything worth doing, and they're kind of a waste of time. But my group felt it was necessary, and I'm not one to break up a group just for a bonus boss. Basically, what you do is find 6 of those terminals and shut them down. It'll take you to the bonus boss. The bonus boss in this Flashpoint reminded me of a couple that Blizzard used in WoW, and I'm not saying that they took it straight from WoW or Blizzard, but they took a mechanic that worked in RPGs and they used it in one of their boss fights, and I really actually liked it more in this game than I did in World of Warcraft, just for the simple fact that they did do it better. That fight right there was just a little mini boss that was basically just a tank and spank. It drops a piece of epic gear, so it's not completely useless, but I still feel like they squeezed that in for absolutely no reason at all. more trash. And these mobs are pretty much just the stronger ones. There's not really too many elites in these, so it should be just a really quick kill to get through this part. These terminals are pretty much all in the same place, so there's none that are really hidden. My group seemed to forget one, and then remembered later on that, oh shit, we still want to do the bonus boss. Basically, once you get to the last terminal, there'll be a little hidden doorway that opens up, and you just go down that, and the boss is right there. This trash is just more of the same. Right there we had one elite, so it was kind of hard. These guys, once again, are just an easy kill. This room's also pretty easy. You can leave one of those elite bots up, and it won't really matter. All they do is just walk back and forth on their side of the ring. So whichever side you want to take is fine. Those guys you just AoE down, and then I think at this point is where I realized that we forgot one of the terminals, and I was trying to go back, and it wasn't till we got into the room with the final boss that they realized that we forgot, and then they go back without telling me, so I was kind of behind. Basically, the last terminal is pretty obvious. Like I said, none of them are really hidden. My group was just full of baddies. I shouldn't say that. The tank was just a bad one. You go down that little hall, and then you have to activate there's 3 panels. You got to activate them, I'm guessing within a certain amount of time of each other. It'll unfreeze the boss, and then basically you DPS him down. At a certain point, he'll actually split, and this is the mechanic I was talking about. That was done in WoW in a couple fights, I believe in the Halls of Reflection, and I can't remember the other one. But in those splits, you had a certain target that you had to take down, and this one, all 3 versions of him are equally as strong, and he'll random aggro someone from the group, depending on who attacks them first. So you may end up, like I did, having to solo one down yourself, which isn't too hard, but the tank should be able to grab the aggro off you. He'll split multiple times, and you should do the same thing every time. It's a pretty easy fight, but the mechanic is also a fun one, just for the simple fact that it has been used in many RPGs, and it works. So that's something that I liked about the fight. He does also drop epic gear, which is nice, but I also still feel like bonus bosses in this hard mode Flashpoint are pretty much useless, since the bonus quest to get them doesn't really yield any experience. At this point, our tank actually disconnected, and we had to wait quite a while for a new one, probably about half an hour to 45 minutes. I am just going to skip ahead to the point where we found our tank. Darth Malgus is one of those bosses that I feel that they made extremely overpowered, just in the fact that at a certain point you not only have to fight him by yourself, which isn't too hard, but the fact that you have to do that by yourself is kind of BS. Also, his knockback sends you back about the entire room, which is a bit ridiculous as well. But all you really have to do is have your tank obviously tank him against that wall or the other wall on the stairs. That way the knockback doesn't affect anyone. And then at that point, it's really just DPSing him down until about 15%. At about 15%, you want to drag him out to the bridge, and at the beginning you should have picked up a grenade. You're going to use that grenade to try and get him off the edge, plain and simple. That'll end the fight. If you don't knock him off the edge, basically what will happen is he'll become stronger and stronger, and damage will no longer affect him. Now, I feel that's another way that they made him completely overpowered. As far as I know, there's no other boss in the game that is able to do that, aside from the enrage timers that are in the operations, but that shouldn't really carry over to the flashpoints, because that's a bit of bullshit. You'll see in this video at the end that we had a bit of trouble actually pulling him all the way to the bridge, so one of us had to actually waste a grenade to bump him to a point where we could actually knock him off. After that, the fight was pretty simple in that it just took a couple more grenades to get him off. I can't say that this is my favorite Flashpoint. I can say that I don't mind doing it, but you definitely need a good geared group to do it. The tank we had before this one wasn't geared at all, so that made it kind of difficult on a few of the boss fights. But if you have a pretty well geared tank, this Flashpoint should take you probably about 45 minutes, maybe even less. I don't know, this is first time doing it for me. And then the obvious setbacks made this take a lot longer than it should have. And I know there's nothing that you can really do about that, but it's still kind of annoying. I want to thank you all for watching this video. This is the first video of this sort that I've done. I do plan to do more, and I hope that you guys like it. If you do, let me know, and I will try and do other Flashpoints and even operations. Subscribe to my channel so you'll know when new videos come out, and I'll see you next time.